Good evening. Welcome to Luther High School. It's good to see so many of you here this evening, so many families here, thinking about what comes next for their child, preparing for the future, wondering what high school might look like for your kid. I'm curious, how many of you, is this your first high schooler that you have coming up? All right, fantastic. This is probably a little bit surreal for you, thinking like, we're at this point already. I have a high schooler coming up. I remember it was just a couple years ago, my wife was posting about Catherine going to high school. And you'll get to take those same pictures and reminisce the same way, saying, I can't believe it's here already. It seems like just yesterday, time is a thief, don't blink, all those things. And then your kid's in high school. I'm on the opposite end of that as well, because all those same things I'll get to post in a couple of months as she's ready to graduate. And it's like, man, where did time go? It goes by so quickly, but so glad that you're here. Today we're going to be talking about a variety of different activities and opportunities and things that make this place really special for your kids. But before we get into all of that, we want to start how we start every day at Luther, and that's in God's Word and in prayer. So we're going to begin with devotion. Our theme here for this school year is always prepared, and that might be the same theme that is at a number of your elementary schools this year as well. This has always been a shared theme among a number of our schools. And that comes from 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 15, which says, But in your hearts revere Christ as Lord, and always be prepared to give an answer to anyone who asks you for the reason for the hope that you have, and to do that with gentleness and respect. At Luther High School, we talk a lot about preparing students for their high school classes, preparing students for college, preparing students for their careers. But Peter reminds us that the most important thing isn't preparation for grades or resumes. It's about being spiritually prepared, having a heart anchored in Christ, so that when life's challenges come, our students know where to turn. I was doom scrolling on my phone the other day, or maybe a better way to put it, I was micro-learning on my phone, and I came across a video with this professor who asked a hypothetical question to his students. He said, imagine you're walking around campus, and you have your cup, and all of a sudden someone bumps into you, and you spill coffee everywhere. There's no coffee in here. Why did you spill coffee? And maybe some of you are thinking the same thing that these students responded. They said, well, because that guy bumped into you. That's why you spilled coffee. The professor said no. He spilled coffee because there was coffee in his cup. If there was water in his cup, he would have spilled water. Orange juice, he would have spilled orange juice. Mountain Dew, would have spilled Mountain Dew. The point he was trying to make is what you're filled with is what comes out when life's challenges hit. When life just rocks our world and we just react, what comes out is what we're filled with. And our goal, our purpose, our mission here at Luther is to make sure that your sons and daughters are filled with Jesus. So that when those tough moments in their life come, they know where to turn, they know where their hope lies. But this kind of preparation doesn't happen overnight. It's built day by day. When students gather in these seats every single day for chapel, when they hear God's word woven into their classes, when they have actual classes that are completely focused on God's word. Freshman year, the Gospels. Sophomore year, Acts and Epistles. Old Testament as a junior. And then practical Christianity as a senior. When they get to pray together before games or concerts, at the beginning of the day, at the end of the day, before lunch. When they see Christian teachers modeling that for them. That's what we mean when we say always prepared. Prepared for tests, yes, but prepared for life and eternity. Peter's words also remind us that being prepared isn't just about knowing that hope for ourselves, but it's about being ready to share. We live in a world that really doesn't understand that hope that we have. But your students, your children, will have that opportunity every day to show kindness, to speak truth, and to live differently because of Jesus. That's one of the things that we focus on every day, is how students at Luther, when other people see our students, they should recognize that there's something different about those kids. The way they talk, the way they act, the way they interact with one another. There should be something different about them. And that difference is Christ. And we don't get it right every single time. We stumble, we fail, we fall. But we know where to turn for our hope and forgiveness. And that's in Christ. And the blessing about being here at Luther is that every single day, our students can turn to the cross and be reminded of the forgiveness and love they have in Jesus Christ. And little changes over time make a lasting impact. At Luther, we want to help them grow to be confident in their faith, to be prepared not only to know what they believe, but to live it and speak it with joy. That's the kind of preparation that lasts long beyond graduation day. Let's close with prayer. We pray. Lord Jesus, we thank you for the gift of your word and the hope that you've given us. Thank you for each student and family here tonight, and for the future you've already planned for them. As we talk about high school and all that lies ahead, remind us that the best preparation that we can give to our children is a heart that knows you and trusts you. Help us to be ready to serve, to love, to share the hope that we have in you. Bless this evening and the ministry of Luther High School. In your holy name we pray. Amen. That hope we just talked about, that's what drives everything we do at Luther. And tonight, we'd like to show you what that looks like in our classrooms, on our teams, and in our daily life together. We already touched on this a little bit, but the mission of Luther High School is to provide a Christ-centered education that encourages and equips students not only for this life, but also for eternity. Some of our core values here at Luther, we talk about providing a Christ-centered and well-rounded education, about having an environment that's family-focused and relationship-driven. We want you to feel like this is your home away from home, because the reality is, over the next 4 years, if your children are attending Luther, they're going to be spending a lot of time on this campus. You might have seen some of the Sound Foundation kids coming in as you were coming in as well. They're going to be here practicing after we're done here. This is going to be a second family for you. You're probably going to be spending a lot of time on this campus, not always in these comfy seats, but sometimes on those bleacher seats, which maybe you want to invest in. They make the better bleacher seats. That might be an investment for those of you who are new to the bleachers. Loving and welcoming atmosphere for souls. Christ's love compels us. In everything that we do, that's our motivation for showing love to one another. There's going to be conflict throughout. That's just the nature of human interaction. But when we step back and we are reminded of what Christ has done for us, that's our motivation for for how we treat one another. And that's something that we strive for every day at Luther. Pursuit of excellence, and that's in all things. You're sitting in an example of excellence. This facility right here is an example of excellence. In the classroom, we strive for excellence. On the courts, we strive for excellence. In everything we do, we want to strive for excellence, not to give glory to ourselves or to look at us and puff our chests and say, look how awesome we are, but to be good stewards and to give love back to God, who has entrusted us with these talents, these abilities, these gifts. We're using them all to His glory, and with excellence is the way that we do that best. And then humble service, looking to lift one another up in love, remembering the love that Christ has given us. The first part of this, or the next part of this presentation, is going to focus on the academics and the curriculum. Mr. Monkey, our registrar, is going to be, well, registrar is one of the hats that he wears, many different hats, but he's going to come and talk to us a little bit more about the academics and the curriculum side of things.
Thank you, Mr. Belke. As he said, my name is James Monkey. I've had the privilege of serving here at Luther High School for many years, and again, some of the hats that I wear involve lots of different things. One of the slides that didn't make it on here was talking about technology. And just briefly, when your student comes to Luther High School, all of them are issued a Chromebook, which they get to keep with them until they are either graduated or if they transfer out. So they would keep those Chromebooks all summer long, all during the school year. They take them home with them, and that's one of the tools that we use here at Luther High School. For our academics, we have certain classes that are required for graduation. And if you look at this chart that I have up here, on the left-hand side, you'll see that this is listed vertically by the year in which they are a student here. One of the things I want you to notice is that down at the bottom where you have the freshmen, there's a lot of classes, but as you grow a little bit higher, juniors and seniors, there's more electives that are available for them. I'm not going to go through all of those electives today. We'll talk about a few of them. But what I want you to focus on for right now is what is at the bottom row here with the freshmen. So there are required classes, which includes our religion class of Gospels. We have an English class, Western Civilization, or World History as it sometimes is called. And then we have 1 credit in math. Now, we don't have that math class listed because typically the freshmen who are coming into Luther High School may have varying levels of math. So we can accommodate that all the way from maybe a pre-algebra to a geometry class. And most of our freshmen are about in the middle there with an Algebra 1 class. When you meet with your advisor, which will be assigned to you later on, they'll work through that with you to help you choose the best math class that fits for your student. Science is physical science. Then we have a fitness and wellness. That's a 1-semester course. That's their Phi-Ed for the year. And we have a computer skills class, again, a 1-semester course. And then we finally have at the end there our fine arts requirements. I'm going to let Mr. Adix in just a moment talk in a little bit more detail with that. But I have notes there because on the back side of that sheet, there's 2 different pathways that you can choose. And there are different reasons for choosing one pathway or the other, but again, I'll let Mr. Adix, who will be up here shortly, talk about that. Mr. Adix.
Thank you, Mr. Monkey. My name is Mr. Adix, and thank you for being here tonight. I'm going to talk very briefly about fine arts and the course offerings that we have. These are our curricular offerings. We are blessed to have Mrs. Lori Elke working with us, and she is amazing. I encourage you to check out some of the amazing things that are in the lobby on the way in. It's always fun to see what new things that class is putting out. She offers 2D art, 3D art, painting, mixed media, and sculpture. Some of those rotate on a different level, but they are available, and many of our students take advantage of that and find that to be incredible. We also have band, choir, digital music, music theory, and music appreciation. I teach music theory, and I also teach digital music, and I have the concert choir. Ms. Schmidt directs our cantate choir. That is the choir that freshmen would be in. And if you were here yesterday, you saw the cantate choir was on our stage doing an amazing job. The concert choir is sophomores, juniors, and seniors, and those are our ensembles that are available. Band is also available for students, and they also played yesterday, so had a wonderful concert. Music appreciation is the class that is available to those students who want to take that path. If they say, you know, being in an ensemble is not something I'm interested in, well, we really want you to have that basic skill set, to be able to know the notes, read the notes, because we're really preparing you for a lifetime of worship and finding meaning in music. So for those students, music appreciation is a semester-long class that they can get and take and satisfy that music requirement. For those students who are interested in pursuing a performance path, we ask them to be in 2 years of an ensemble. They might be in band for 2 years. It could be a choir for 2 years. And that's actually very flexible. If students find that their freshman and sophomore year, they're not sure what they want to do, students can jump into concert choir as sophomores and juniors or seniors. We've had students jump into band as juniors and seniors. So those are some really very flexible options that are there. And part of the reason behind that is if you're in an ensemble, we really feel that it takes 2 years for you to achieve that same level of musical fluency and experience that you would if you were in a semester class where 5 days a week you're dedicated to formal instruction in how music works. 2 different ways to learn and really achieve the same outcomes. Could we advance to the next slide? Thank you. Fine arts, I guess the thing that I want to encourage all of you to consider is one of the great blessings of Luther High School is students can be in an awful lot of things. Right now, my choir, the Sound Foundation, is practicing on stage, and we just had students who are starting the basketball season. This past fall, we had football players, we had volleyball players, we had cross-country kids, and quite often they would run right out of one thing, grab some dinner, go into Sound Foundation, and just have a ball doing it all. And I guess what I'm trying to say is here at Luther High School, we work very hard to make it possible for students to be involved in as many things as they can. Because when those students leave here after 4 years and they're musicians and they're athletes and they're involved in robotics and they've been a part of our outstanding academics, those students are richer for it. And we really believe that that's important. So we offer jazz band, color guard, handbells, Sound Foundation. We have piano and organ lessons and vocal lessons during the day, all again with the intent of giving your children the opportunity to be as well-rounded and to explore those different sides of their gifts and talents as they possibly can. So we look forward to seeing your children here next year. And again, please encourage your kids. Try it, participate, whether it's fine arts, music, robotics, all of those different things. They're wonderful opportunities. Thank you very much.
So we jumped a little bit out of order there because what you see up here right now is our co-curriculars. We did that for Mr. Adix because he actually has a Sound Foundation rehearsal right now, so he covers both of those areas. But we'll go on to our next slide right now, which is Mr. Jesfang.
Hi there, my name is Brandon Jesfang. This is my 3rd year teaching here at Luther High School. Previous to this, I worked in industry in advanced manufacturing. I'm in the Industry 4.0 instructor here, so I teach all the advanced manufacturing classes here. So I get a lot of fun toys in my classroom, robots, and a bunch of other cool stuff. But I'm going to cover a lot of the practical arts department classes that we have here at Luther High School. First of all, we have the Woods department, which Dan Larson does an amazing job with that. He has Intro to Trades, which Intro to Trades is a class where they kind of do a broad overview of a lot of different trades. So electricians, plumbing, construction, they cover even like landscaping, stuff like that, different trades you can possibly go into. He does Woods 1 and Woods 2, which the kids get an opportunity to work with their hands, doing a lot of different woods projects, cutting boards, push sticks for table saws, stuff like that. But the kids have a lot of fun with that. Our metals area, Josh Hansen just joined our staff this year. He is teaching our Welding 1 and Welding 2 courses, which we get into wire feed or MIG welding, also stick welding and welding 2. Next year, which is going to be a pretty exciting thing, he's going to be starting some machining classes, which we have a lot of equipment back there ready for that. Also, he's going to be doing a CAD class, which is a computer-aided design class, which gets into computer-aided design, 3D modeling, 2D modeling, prints, creations, stuff like that. So it's a pretty exciting time to get that rocking and rolling. So the 4 courses that I teach, industrial robotics, which we get into programming different robots to do different tasks, very prevalent in industry for more automation type concepts. Mechatronics gets into I call it the inch deep, mile wide class, getting into a little pneumatics, little AC/DC electrical, relay logic, that type of stuff. Industrial controls gets into the next level higher, which is PLC controls, which is like essentially programming the brain of an automated system. And then we get into the Internet of Things class, which is the top class that I teach, which kind of gets into data collection, a little bit of AI, that's kind of getting more and more popular nowadays, but a lot of technology-based advanced manufacturing type concepts. But overall, the Practical Arts Department, we do our best to first of all have a good time, kids like coming back to our classrooms and having a good time, but also work with your hands. I know there's some kids that aren't super psyched about sitting behind a desk all day long, so they get a chance to come back by our classroom and have some hands-on time, along with getting some critical thinking skills and that type of stuff. So.
Alrighty, good evening, everybody. My name is Kyle Fax. I am in a new role this year as Luther's curriculum director. I'm juggling a bunch of different things right now for our high school, but it's all exciting stuff. And one of those things that we are trying to do our best to expand, we currently already have both of these schools in place offering college credit, both online and in person. A couple of classes in Mr. Jesvang's department are transcripted with Western for college credit, and we're looking to expand that. And we also offer numerous online courses for college credit, primarily to seniors. With the industry classes, it can go a little bit lower than that, but primarily to seniors so they can earn college credit while they're here at Luther. We're looking at adding, more courses for both of those. Some of those would be here in person and be taught via Western. So here's some maybe potential additions we're looking at for next year. I'd say probably likely, actually. And these are just some of them too. So we actually surveyed the parents to ask, what would you like to see from us as far as potential new course additions? And we sent that to our 9th through 11th grade parents, so sorry you guys didn't get it. But truth be told, there's not a lot of wiggle room for the freshmen anyways to take these types of courses that we're talking about. But we do want to send that survey out yearly. So I ask you, if you do receive that in the future, please let us know what you would like to see as far as shaping our academics. We can't fulfill every single need typically, but we are going to try our best to add some new and exciting courses. So one we're trying to add for next year would be dual credit English, here taught at Luther by me, so it'd be taught by Christian teacher, but it would be college credit, and they would receive credit through Western Technical College for that. 3 credits first semester, 3 credits second semester. And some of these courses might have requirements, both requirements that Luther sets in place for like the English class, for example, but also credits such as ACT scores, et cetera, that would need to be fulfilled or sent to Western or whatever institute that is. But I promise we'll communicate all of that to you as the time comes. Again, most of this isn't stuff that freshman parents need to worry about, but it is worth mentioning and thinking ahead to the future too. And certainly encouraging your children as well to do well freshman, sophomore, junior years, all the lead up into this, because as we look at where to place these students in these courses too, we like to kind of look at them as, you know, a whole student. How have they grown? How have they transformed in their education over the years, so that we can best fit their needs. We're looking at adding machining as well. Mr. Josh Hansen, the teacher that Mr. Jesvang mentioned, would be the one teaching that. He's fully certified for that. We have the equipment for it. That would also be one that we could potentially transcript or offer dual credit for as well, which would be pretty cool. And then publications or yearbook, we are also looking and bringing back. It used to be a class, and we halted it for a couple years, but that is another one where we're looking at bringing it back. And there's a few other ones that Mr. Belke, Mr. Monkey, and I are looking at right now too, and adding for as young as freshmen, as old as seniors. So if you do have ones that you would like to bring up to us tonight even, after this is finished, I am all ears. I'm sure he would be all ears too. Ultimately, we're here to serve you and serve your children. And so we want to make this educational experience certainly one that fulfills their faith needs, but their academic needs as well. One other cool thing that we're adding next year, Mr. Jesvang and I are kind of in the throes of prototyping this right now with a couple of his industry kids, is we wanted to formalize our work-study program through an institution of some sort. And so YA Wisconsin or Youth Apprenticeship Wisconsin is kind of the forerunner for that in the state of Wisconsin. There's numerous other Wells High Schools that utilize them as well and have said just absolutely great things about them. Ours would be through CESA 4, not CESA 6, but it's the same thing. We would offer high school credit for this, so they would do work study through either an apprenticeship that they find and we approve, and the employer apprenticeship obviously has to approve it as well and pay them. Pay has to be part of this in order for YA Wisconsin to sign up for it. But Mr. Bias, Mr. Belke, and I are going to look into our Luther family as well to see if there are any other potential apprenticeships that we could get going as well. As far as there's numerous different tracks that the students can do, if that makes sense. I know Mr. Monkey is going to, I think, list those in the student-parent handbook as well. So as a kind of a plea to each of you, if you know of any that would fit this, once we send out kind of like a call for it, please do communicate that to us too, because that might help us in laying out what we would set up as far as the different tracks for next year as well. But super, super exciting stuff. They can also potentially pay for up to 3 credits at Western as well for juniors and seniors if there's certain certifications or college credits that the employer is requiring. So it's kind of a win-win for both the employer, the student, win-win-win, I should say, and for Luther as well. I believe that's all I had. So like I said, exciting stuff coming down the pipeline. If you have anything that you would like to suggest or email to me, please do so. And up next, I believe we have Student Services with Mrs. Bolstad.
Thank you. No. Okay. Mine's going to be short and sweet. I'm Gail Bolstad. I am part of Student Services, so I'm the one that deals with if your student has a 504 plan or an IEP. I make sure those accommodations are talked about at various staff meetings, and then we make sure that the plans ahead, the accommodations are going forward on that. In my team, I have Mrs. Liz Kolb. She also helps in the physical education department. She will most likely have all of your freshmen in fitness and wellness. And then Mr. Bob Wadekin, and he helps out on those. So what IIA does is during your students' study hall time is they get pulled out and we work on maybe just organizations. If they're having problems with a math problem or a science problem, we help walk them through the steps. Scaffolding to them to the next level where they need to be at during that time. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Bolstad. Our IIA, Individualized Instructional Assistance Department, does a wonderful job with our students. It's not to the level of special education, but they really have an opportunity to work with our students at a pretty deep level, which they do a great job with. That wraps up at this part of our curriculum discussions and so forth, and at this point, I'll turn it over to Mr. Aaron Schopper.
Hi
Hi, everybody. I'll try to make this short and sweet as well. But my name is Aaron Shopper, a program therapist and wellness specialist with an organization called Christian Family Solutions. So this is a little bit unique because I still consider myself a part of the Luther staff, but I'm not here every day. So part of the time during the week, I am here at Luther providing in-person counseling services to students. The rest of the time, I'm actually doing some telehealth counseling services with people in the outpatient world and also in a day treatment. So this is kind of a unique position because I'm actually a graduate of Luther High School. I graduated in 2014, and when I was a student here, we never had any form of formal counseling services. So as I did my schooling, I always wanted to get back here. I think that this was a really needed place to be. I think that we could all probably agree that high school can be a pretty awkward and difficult time. So it's pretty nice to be able to be working closely with some of these kids and just give them a little bit of a chance to succeed in a place that can be big and scary at times. I'd say that I work very closely with Mrs. Bolstead and her crew. I pop into IIA quite a bit, but a lot of what I do is try to equip kids. I try to talk about giving them tools to have for their toolbox. So there might be a whole bunch of different situations that come up in your life where maybe you're feeling worried, or maybe you're feeling sad, or maybe you're feeling angry. Those are all really natural human reactions to things. But those things can also develop and be coped with in unhealthy ways. So what I want to be able to give them is those constructive ways of dealing with that stress. So whether it be behavioral coping skills, trying to give them a whole variety of things that they can do individually with a close or trusted family member or friend, in a variety of different situations, whether it's at home, whether it's in the classroom, on the court, on the stage, wherever that may be. I also try to work with kids on developing interpersonal skills. I know it can be sometimes difficult to talk with people and, get into high school, I don't know where I fit in, how do I fit in, those sorts of questions. I want to help them develop and cultivate their voice and build those self-advocacy skills. So I'm kind of the guy that if to not be needed, because that means that things are going pretty well, but if it is, I would be more than happy to work with you and your student and your family, and looking forward to having you all here.
Thank you, Mr. Shopper. Probably time to take a breath. You've been taking a lot in at this point. Okay, now you've taken your breath. We gotta keep moving because Sound Foundation wants to get in here and dance and do some flips and sing some songs and things like that. So jumping right back into co-curriculars, we saw some of those a little bit earlier. Some of the additional co-curriculars, our athletic director isn't able to be here tonight because they're at an end of the year banquet awards thing for some of our fall sports. So Dan Unke is our athletics director, does a phenomenal job with that in getting everything organized and squared away for all these different opportunities for your children. You can note some of them have a little asterisk at the end. Those are things that we co-op. That means that we join and partnership with some other schools in the area because we didn't have enough kids here to do it ourselves. So then we join up with some other schools to form one team. So an example of that would be girls soccer. When I was deliberating the call here, one of the things I looked at the website and I didn't see soccer. And I thought, oh no, because my two high school daughters, that's their favorite sport, absolutely. And so to not have soccer, that would have been devastating. But found out in talking with Mr. Unke that Luther does indeed have soccer. We co-op with Logan. So my daughters had some practices down there over the summer, so they got to know some of the kids down there at Logan. Their coach actually came to one of the volleyball matches the other day because he likes to build those connections and relationships with the students here at Luther that are on the team as well. So there are opportunities for a wide range of things in high school for your kids to participate in. We also have a few other unique opportunities. Drama, we have a children's theater. A lot of you may have come to children's theater that happened not too long ago, just a couple weekends ago. We had children's theater, and then there's a musical that takes place in the spring. Pro-Life Nights is another club that your students can be a part of. Robotics, student council, a trap club. That's where they're shooting the clay pigeons and things, not trapping animals. Ice Fishing Club and National Honor Society, those are opportunities for students to serve in a variety of ways So a lot of neat things for kids to be involved in that meet a lot of different interests. There may be others, and there may be others that are coming, but these were the ones that rose to the top of my list. One of the things you're probably wondering about is transportation. Mr. Babnick is our transportation director. He also is at the same meeting with Mr. Unke because he also serves as the Cooley Conference Commissioner. So he's the commissioner of our conference, so he has to be at that event tonight. So he gave me some transportation notes, which I will read to you. No, I'm just going to do some highlights. We have 4 different bus routes, 3 that are operated by Luther and 1 that's in cooperation with the La Crosse schools. But the one route starts in Tomah, goes to Sparta, Bangor, West Salem, and then to Luther. We have another route that comes up from Stoddard to La Crosse Central and then to Luther. Another route goes from Altura to Lewiston to Ridgeway to Nodine to La Crescent. And then a final route that goes from Winona to Galesville to Holman to Onalaska to Luther. So there are a variety of opportunities for your children to have transportation to and from school. The challenge is if they're in some of these extracurriculars, because there's one bus at the end of the day, so then there's some carpooling and things that need to be figured out that way. But we do have some transportation options for you. Sometimes kids have to be on the bus a little bit longer, but honestly, with their devices, that's not as big of a deal as it was when I was riding for an hour on the ice-cold bus and just looking out the window. So, up next is probably, I had a slide for those routes. Up next is probably one of the things that is at the forefront of your mind, and that is, yeah, but can I afford this school? John Bias will talk to you about that.
Yeah, that is an awesome intro. That is a good, oh, is it this one? No. Oh, perfect. All right, there we go. Okay, that's a great introduction, right? We have a lot of great stuff, right? You have a lot of great people that serve you here. It's a huge family, and they love your kids. I've had 3 boys graduate from this school, and couldn't have asked for a better 4 years for each of them here growing up. Perfect? Nope, because they're still high schoolers, so have that expectation where it's good. But I always tell people, honestly and truly, when it comes to Luther, the one thing I can trust every single day, not necessarily did my kid play more than another kid, or was that a really hard test, or was that fair, or, maybe they should have made the front row in the concert choir, and all those are great. But I never had to figure out if my teachers believed what I believed about Jesus. All right? That's why you're in the schools that you're in right now. That's why you're sitting here tonight. So I get the joy of telling you that all this great stuff we have, it's not free. All right? It costs money. But I also get the joy of talking to you about it in a way that you understand that there are so many people that love to help you. That is not your tuition number, right? Because I wouldn't expect anyone to sit here for $18,000 a year. That is a lot of money. However, that is the number that when we look at everything involved, that's the number that it costs to educate a child here at Luther. If you were go back to your own grade schools and you were to see that, you also would find a number much higher than what most of you pay for tuition, probably double or triple or 4, or some churches I know, as a matter of fact, it's probably 10 times that amount, that you pay 10 times as less as that. Why do we show you this number? Well, about half of that is what you're going to pay to have your kids at Luther High School, but it's even going to be much less than that. When you look at Luther High School, these are our tuition rates. We have the association rate, we have a first child, second child, third child, non-association tuition rates. Those rates correlate the same way, percentage-wise. Here are some things that we start out with. Luther High School gives a grant of $325 per student. We also have Good Steward Resale Store. I'm going to talk about them just for a second. Those of you who don't know anything about Good Steward, they give hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars to Luther High School. They are approaching a little over, I think it's almost $2.4 million, right? They sell more, as I call it, junk for Jesus than anyone you have ever known. okay? And they love this school. That number does not also reflect the amount of grants that they will give to the school for certain projects, for certain groups, for special gifts. They're an amazing group of people. That is also one way, beyond that $300 gift, to obtain funds for Luther High School. If any of you know anyone who works at Good Steward, they can apply for a grant. And that grant is, I think, up over $1,200 right now per student for the first student. They love giving all the money they make away, especially to Luther High School. Working at Good Steward is pretty easy. It can take a couple hours a month. You get X amount of hours in for the day, or if somebody you know is working for your child or your grandchild or anyone like that, that money can go to that. Friends of Luther, those of you who don't know that organization, you might have bought a hamburger or a brat or a piece of pizza or a bag of popcorn or gone to the golf outing or any one of those things. Those folks, again, make a ton of money every year, and they give it all back to Luther. And that's one of the ways they do that with a grant. The Student Tuition Endowment Fund, we have a foundation here at Luther High School, and these guys work tirelessly to make sure that the money that we are blessed with through estates and through other gifts works for the students of Luther High School. And that is the grant that they give at $365. So your total grants before you even have to make one tuition payment will be dropped off $1,140. Now, on top of that, some of you have congregations that also provide gifts for Lutheran education. Take advantage of that. Ask your congregations. You may not even know that they give amounts for students to go to this school. And it doesn't matter what church it is. Most of our churches, all the ones that I have talked to, do give some type of aid to help students get to a church like this. And you'd also be surprised in your congregation if you talk to a pastor how many people would be willing to help for a student to go to a school like this. We have that happen every single year. Tuition assistance. This is one of my favorite things to talk about at Luther. If you've ever heard me talk in your congregation, I'll say the same thing I say there. You're going to have to do your part. The average person at Luther High School, the average family pays about $5,400 for their student to go to Luther, which is a big drop down from $9,300. You're going to do your part. You're going to figure out what you can pay. When you go to apply to Luther High School and you're filling out registration, and when that registration opens, do that. We have a timeline where you can apply for tuition assistance. It's called a FACS program. You're going to put all your numbers in there, and do not be afraid to put those numbers in there, because there's always a narrative box. And at that bottom of that narrative box, sorry about that, at the bottom of the narrative box is where you can fill in and share your story about why you might need more funding this year. The blessing that we have at Luther High School is we have always been able to meet those needs. We have not denied anyone coming to school here because they could not afford this high school. So you do your part, we'll do our part, the Lord will do the rest, and then you will have a night, and you will be part of the Luther family. Everyone receives tuition assistance. Even if you were to say to fill out facts and all of a sudden they'd come back as saying a big fat zero, you get nothing. There's another set of qualifiers that we put on as Luther High School. For example, this year there was a family who has applied and they were denied through the normal means, through the normal first run of facts. They then put in the second set of what we have parameters in there, and they were given $1,500 for that. They then asked for an additional $1,000 because of a situation that they had that was unique, and they were granted that. The last way that I'll encourage you, and I know not all of you are from the state of Wisconsin, is to make sure that you look into the parental choice program. If any of you are in the parental choice program, as long as you can verify your address, Luther High School is free every single year. So if you do simple math, you're talking $9,000 times 4. The blessing of parental choice goes way beyond that for Luther. That's why it's so important for all of you to investigate it, to see if you fit inside of that box. Because parental choice gives Luther well beyond our tuition. It gives us $12,000 per student in the parental choice program. So make sure that you look at parental choice. And if you have questions, you can always call up here. Our financial office can help out. Mr. Belke can help you with that. I can help you with that. It is definitely something to look at. So in the end, I just want you to remember one thing about tuition. No ministry is free. Your church's ministry is not free. This ministry is not free. But you will not get refused a Christian high school education because of that. That's the box I was talking about. It's a pretty big box. Number of family sizes on this side, single parent, married parent is on that. You can go to wisconsinchoice.org and you can check out more of those.
One other note with school choice, if you have a family that's more than 6 kids for each additional member, I don't know, can anybody read that on their note sheet? Oh, maybe that slide didn't make it in yet. I think we printed that before this slide came on here. But there's an additional $11,836 per additional family member. So if you have a larger family, keep adding $11,000 for each additional kid. The other thing is, if you aren't in the choice program right now, maybe your school doesn't have the choice program, but you're in Wisconsin, 9th grade year is an entry point. So the choice program has a couple entry points. One's in kindergarten. I think 1st grade might be another one. But then you can't get in until 9th grade. 9th grade is another entry point. So if you didn't qualify in the past, you might qualify in high school. If maybe you moved to the area and didn't qualify for those reasons. If you're in Minnesota, you don't qualify. I'm sorry for those of you who are in Minnesota. But this is really something that is worth looking into because it can be a tremendous blessing for your family. And if you have questions about that, our office is, Mrs. Wasserman is pretty good about all that stuff, and she can get you pointed down the right path. So worth checking out the school choice side of things.
Hello everybody, my name is Matt Schiebel. I've been teaching here now for 16 years. Kind of like Mr. Belke, my youngest is now going to be is a senior this year, so been sitting in the same spot that you are, and it goes real quick. So enjoy the time, and we're happy that you're here. Usually this portion is done by Luke Rosenbaum, who is our academic advisor coordinator, but he had something going on tonight, so he wasn't able to make it. So I'm here to talk a little bit about what the role of the academic advisor is here at Luther High School. Mr. Monkey mentioned it earlier that when you register, you will automatically be given an academic advisor at random. It just kind of goes down the list in the order of when you register. The role of the academic advisor is pretty much threefold. First and foremost, that academic advisor is going to be the person who is going to be your point person throughout the summer, as far as answering any questions that you might have, helping plan the classes that Mr. Monkey was mentioning in the freshman year. That is their first role for you, is going to be help orienting you to Luther High School. The second thing that the academic advisor does is going to be kind of like a junior counselor, guidance counselor. We help the students plan their 4 years here at Luther High School. We make sure that we're in constant communication with them about what fields of study they might be interested in and what avenues they could take here in our curriculum to help them pursue their goals once they graduate from high school. Every spring, March, April, we're dealing with the kids as planning their classes for the next school year. So that's one of our jobs. The third reason, or the third responsibility or role of the academic advisor is kind of to help your student get through spiritually, physically, academically, emotionally. We are here to help. We are here to assist if they're having a hard day. We're here to help them if they have academic issues. We are here to be that listening ear that they want to hear. The role of the academic advisor is important because they are the ones that probably know your student the best throughout the 4 years here at Luther High School. If you have any questions about the role of the academic advisor, you can talk to me afterward. A couple of the other academic advisors are here as well. Otherwise, we can take email. Mrs. Wasserman can get you information about us as well. Then we have transition from middle school to high school. This is the portion that I usually take on. It's going to be different. It's going to be completely different. The next slide, I have all of these things, and no, it's not a it's not a mistake that I start with prayer and I end with prayer, because it's important. Besides the first physical steps that your child took, and then maybe first day of kindergarten, this is the next big step in their lives. And it's going to be a big deal in your family. Best thing that we can do is continue to keep those lines of communication with our Heavenly Father open so that you can have that constant prayer. Patience. We're asking everybody for patience. You're going to need patience with your student. Your student's going to need patience with you. Your student's going to need patience with the teachers. Teachers are going to need patience with the student. It's going to be a lot of patience. So I'm just asking for your help with this. Understand that it's going to be a learning curve as you get into high school, and that's a good thing. Communication. Keep those lines of communication open between you and your student. Keep those lines of communication open between you and the academic advisor. Keep those lines of communication open between you and the front office. There is a lot of information, as you can tell from tonight. We've had a lot already thrown at you. It's going to only get to be more. So keep those lines of communication open. Whenever you have questions, do not hesitate to contact us here, whether it's in the office, whether it's the academic advisor, whether it's Mr. Bilkey. We'll answer your questions because we want to make this as peaceful of a transition as possible. The next one kind of goes time management with together organization, planner, schedules, and calendars. As far as organization goes, a lot of your students in the grade schools maybe stayed in the same classroom, or they had the same teacher throughout, except for maybe pastor who taught catechism class. Maybe there's another teacher who came in and taught art or Phi Ed or something like that. Here at Luther, your student is going to get 7 different teachers throughout the course of the day. And they're going to be moving classrooms all the time. So one thing that's going to be very, very helpful for them is to try to keep their organization by having some sort of a planner. I think the freshmen all get a planner, right? Mrs. Bolsa gave me the thumbs up. So this is going to be a great place for them to write down assignments, when they're due, when they were assigned. Write down practices. When is the drama practice? When is the volleyball practice? When is the football practice? All those things are important to keep them organized because there's going to be a lot going on, and having some sort of organization, having a planner is going to be extremely, extremely important. Schedules and calendars, this kind of goes along with what Mr. Bilkey was talking about with the co-curriculars. If your student was involved in sports or other curricular things at their grade school, it only ramps up when they get to high school. Maybe a lot of them had practices 2 days a week and a game on Friday. When you get to high school, practices are every day. So that's going to be something that's going to be a little bit of a change, and something that as a family, you just have to get ready and prepared for. But this is the importance of having schedules and calendars. We have an Our School calendar that has every activity that Luther High School is offering, and you can get that right on your phone. You can get that synced up with your Google Calendar, your family Google Calendar if you have one, and it just is a great way to keep everybody organized with it, because again, lots going on and tons and tons and tons of information. Keeping organized is going to be one of the keys for this transition. And then at the end, prayer, right? Because that's just going to be the best tool for you. Any questions? All right, Mr. Bill.
Thank you. One of the things I forgot to mention with student school choice in Wisconsin, you saw some of those numbers. Once you're in the choice program, so if your child is in the choice program in the elementary school, it doesn't matter how much you make. Once you're in the program, you can continue to be in the program until your child graduates from high school. Your income can change and be above those limits, but as long as you're in the program as long as you continue in that program. So if you saw some of those numbers and are like, well, we don't fit that anymore, it doesn't matter, because if you were already accepted into the program, you're good, even if your income has changed. Student life, there's just a lot of different opportunities at Luther to be involved in a lot of different things, and we're moving on because we're running out of time. Here's a couple of fast facts about student body. looking at graduation rate at 95, graduates enrolled in post-secondary education at 95%. We have a huge number of students that participate in our co-curricular activities. That was something that I was meeting with the other Cooley Conference principals, public school principals in the area, and our percentage of participation is really high, which is what allows our sports to be so competitive, which allows our drama and other activities to be so well done because we have such great participation by our students. That's something that's really unique to Luther. Making the honor roll, about 32% make the honor roll, and then our average ACT score is a couple points higher than the Wisconsin average. So in case you were wondering some of those things. All right, so next steps. Information is on our website. Go to lutherhigh.org, and you're going to find all kinds of information for a lot of the things that didn't get covered tonight. If you go to lutherhigh.org, that's step 1. I don't know which of these buttons is the laser.
Top of the silver ring.
Top of the silver ring. If you go to lutherhigh.org, then if you go to the admissions tab, click on apply, and then there's an enrollment flow chart, and there's also a spot for new families to click here and start the application process. So that would be the next step. In talking with Mrs. Wasserman in our office, it is extremely helpful if we have early enrollments to help with planning for next year. So if you know to a very high degree that you're going to be coming to Luther next year, the sooner that you can go through that application process, the better it is on our end. If you're unsure what next year holds, come talk to us, and we'll be happy to give you information and answer questions that you have along the way.
Just with the enrollment process,
Yes.
that does not mean you have to start paying tuition. That happens later. So when you enroll, it doesn't mean you're locked in for that, but sometimes we get questions about.
Is there a registration fee that you have to pay when you enroll?
Yeah, there is one through fax, and you'll see that, and then we have a way that when you do that, you'll be communicated with them and with our office about the fee on that and how that gets handled as well. But your registration doesn't start, the financial part of it won't start until later.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Bias. Yes. It is. Yes, Mr. Monkey? It is? Is the registration open right now for next school year?
Yes, it is. You can go on our website tonight and get registered.
I think we should have like a prize for the first person to get registered. We have just a few minutes for any additional questions. Otherwise, the next thing that we're going to do is invite you to go on a tour with Mr. Bias, especially looking at our practical arts department. Your children, your 8th graders, are going to be involved in activities until 8 o'clock. So if you don't want to go on the tour, that's fine. You can meander around the building. You can do a self-guided tour if you'd like. But your kids will be engaged with Mr. Shibblehut until then. Yes? Great question. So school choice opens up in February, I believe. February to April is that window. There will be another meeting in January where we'll go through all the choice application process and all of that so that when it opens up in February, then we'll continue to send that information out so that you can get registered in that window. Any other? Yes, John.
It kind of coincides with your taxes when you go into the choice program. However, you are allowed to use prior year's taxes. So if for some reason you want to get registered, and I would encourage you, because of the way the law is set up, you can use either year. So if you have a year where you look like it last year, and you say, oh yeah, our tax situation looked better last year, in other words, it gets us a little closer to that
Yes?
For the computer skills class, will they learn to type in that class, or what is all in that curriculum?
Great question. Computer skills, Mr. Monkey.
It's a combination of learning productivity tools like Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and also some typing is done in that class too. So if the students come in with the ability to do some typing, that's a great start, but they will have an opportunity to refine those skills.
All right. The people who presented on stage today will hang out as well if you have specific questions that you want to ask individuals. Maybe you want to talk to Mr. Fax about dual enrollment things and what that looks like, or some of those other options. But at this time, I will turn it over to Mr. Bias, and if you would like to go on a guided tour with Mr. Bias, you can head over to that exit. If you would prefer to just give a self-guided tour or just relax and take it all in, or find one of the other teachers and ask specific questions, you don't have to go on the tour, but you're more than welcome to. So thank you for taking the time to be here this evening. Thank you for taking the time to consider what high school at Luther might mean for your kids. We're so excited that you're here. Being new to Luther, all of this, you know, when I was thinking when Mr. Schiebel was talking about how this is all, high school is different and it's new. I came from being an elementary school principal for 20 years, and this is my first go around in a high school. And high school is different, but it's good. It's good. Patience is an important thing, and people have showed me lots of patience. So I thank you for your patience this evening, and God's blessings on the rest of the 8th grade year. Enjoy those moments and opportunities, and hope to see many of your kids here at Luther next year. Thank you.